I got a doo-doo in my butt, and I don't know what to do with the doo-doo in my butt. But I know that a father should say to you that he's proud of you. Every daughter is a doo-doo from a father's butt. Biologically speaking, the butt is a nut. And every father's wrong, and there isn't a song that can change that. I got a doo-doo in my butt, and I don't know what to do with the doo-doo.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Rick with The Digital Divide, and today we're going to go thrifting again. If you've seen my previous two videos, you know that I love treasure hunting at thrift stores. You just never know what you're going to find. It's super exciting, and I found a lot of really cool things this week that I can't wait to share with you. Before we get started though, I do want to say that I'm going to be doing another giveaway on this video. I'm going to be giving away a comic book slab and a video game for free. This costs you nothing. All you have to do is like and leave a comment below. Shipping is on me, so I'll send this out to you. It won't cost you a thing. Specifically, what I'm going to be giving away is Thor number 5. This is a CGC graded 9.0 with a custom label. This is the first appearance of Lady Loki. And you can see it's got that beautiful custom label there. So this will be included. If you win, you will get this for free. I'm also going to be giving away a free game in addition to the slab. The game that I'm going to be giving away is Agents of Mayhem for the Xbox One. This will also work on the Xbox One X or One S. It is backwards compatible. So you'll get both of these if you win. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and start thrifting. The first place we're going to stop at is Antique Crossroads. This is only a 5-minute drive from where I live, and I've recently moved. We'll touch on that later. But the first thing you're greeted with is a bunch of creepy-ass dolls. I don't know who's looking for this or why they have so many. I don't know who leaves their house saying, God, I wish I could find a doll that has a full-on man-sized head attached to an infant's body. Weird. They also had this cool Elvis statue. And then I found some old Indian arrowheads made out of stone. This is so cool. I don't collect it, but I just appreciate it. Moving on, if we walk a little bit further down, I found some baseball memorabilia, not something that I'm into. There was also this giant Pennzoil canister, some old Boy Scouts of America uniforms. I did find some comic books here that got me really excited, although upon closer inspection, a lot of these are just modern 90s garbage, although there were some exceptions. I did spot a Doom Patrol comic in the back that was a 12-center, as well as a War of the Worlds comic from Marvel, which I've never seen before, so I had to look those up. I didn't end up getting any of these though. Next, I found this really old school GE radio, which is cool. This thing is massive, and I just love the way this looks. It's a silver tone model GE. I just think it's cool. And then I found a bunch of really cool die-cast metal cars. Now, I do own a couple of these. I don't have a lot, and I don't really go out of my way to collect them, but they are neat. So if I ever see one at a yard sale that is cheap, I'll pick it up. This one in particular, this Cobra caught my eye. The white pinstripes on that look absolutely beautiful. They also had some Harley Davidson mufflers. They said that they appeared to be new, and on the outside they look clean, but if you look on the inside, you can tell these were definitely used. So I passed on those. I did find a small box of comic books at this booth, although they look to be all indie titles, which I'm not hugely into. A lot of these were ElfQuest books, and I don't collect ElfQuest books. Growing up, I did have a friend that was super into ElfQuest, but it's just not something I'm into. So I ended up passing on these after taking a look at everything that was in the box here. At the next booth, I found more creepy dolls, including this Mexican-looking Wild West doll with a lasso, which was kind of weird, and then this teddy bear that said Sugar Bear on it. He looks like he's on crack cocaine for some reason. I don't know what's going on there. I did not pick those up. Next, I found some really cool Superman statues. This one in particular caught my eye. I really like the look of it. They were asking $140. When I got online, it seems to be around what it's going for. The one in the middle is from the animated show. The one on the far right appears to be much older, although it was missing the cape. Otherwise, I would have been interested in that. On the next booth, I found some more comic books, and these really got me going. The first thing that caught my eye was the Spectacular Spider-Man #1. This is the first appearance of Tarantula and the first title in that series. They also had some old Captain America and Tales of Suspense books and some stuff at the bottom here. They were asking $250 for Eternals #1, which is laughably stupid because that's like a $40, $50 book at best. And then they had some old books here, The Story of Mrs. Tubbs, which was kind of weird, and then some Disney stuff. They did have Peter Pan, which was interesting. And some Cat in the Hat books as well. And then they had some like framed Marvel artwork. This is Captain America 110, which is the first appearance of Madam Hydra, I believe, or Lady Hydra. And then a bunch of other ones. I don't need any of these, so I passed on those. It looks like they had some more magazines and comics maybe down here, but didn't really see anything of note. Some trading cards, some Star Wars trading cards, a Disney book of some sort. And some other random things. I didn't end up picking up any of those. They had some other comics here, although most of them looked to be modern. With a few exceptions, they had some Web of Spider-Man, which I believe is like from the 80s. And then they had some Howard Duck, which I believe is 70s, but everything else was like newer. Nothing that really caught my eye that I was interested in. They did have a bunch of short boxes, which I did go through all of those. And then I found this Gibson Flying V, absolutely beautiful guitar. They were asking $1,500 for it, which is a steal at that price for this brand. I was tempted, but I already have a custom Les Paul that I don't play because I suck at guitar, so I don't need to waste money on another one. They had this giant Coca-Cola. This thing was like 4 feet tall. It was like from the 50s, and they were asking $2,500. I don't have the space for it, and I also don't collect Coca-Cola stuff. They also weirdly had a like full-on taxidermy dog. I don't know how that came into their possession. On the next booth, they had a bunch of like old board games. One caught my eye. It was called Horseopoly. That's right, Horseopoly. It is a Monopoly ripoff featuring horses. So it's just a horse version of Monopoly. I don't know why. I just thought this was hilarious and just weird. I almost bought it just because of how weird it was, but I ended up passing on that. Moving on, I found some toys, and I do collect vintage toys from the 80s and early 90s, although I don't collect any Barbie stuff. This is all Barbie stuff. Moving on, I did find some other toys. This NASA Snoopy one was an amazing deal at $16, and I almost picked it up, but the back of the helmet was dented in, so I didn't end up getting that, although I really wanted to. And then they had a Ninja Turtles figure, but it's from the new series, which sucks. And then I saw this, Where the Wild Things Are. I read this book growing up as a kid, and it's made by McFarlane, so I really wanted it, but they were asking $45 for it, and that's about what it goes for on eBay, maybe even a little less on eBay, so I ended up passing. They did have this Fantasia box set unopened, which was tempting. They had more Where the Wild Things Are figures. And then I found this this booth, and this guy was selling brand new comics. And apparently what he does is every Wednesday, he's a comic vendor. So he actually gets comic books, and then every week he puts new comics on the rack, which is a really great service for me specifically, because if my local comic book shop doesn't, like, if they sell out of a book that I'm looking for, I can always come here as a secondary option and hope that they have it. Now this guy has a bunch of new comics. He also has a bunch of posters. There was this really cool Catwoman poster that he's got for $9 over here, and then he had a bunch of like toys as well, like pop figures and whatnot. Really good selection of stuff actually, and he's also got a bunch of short boxes full of back issues. But like his pop figures, and I don't collect a ton of pop figures, but the ones he had were really, really, really cool. Specifically this Wolverine. This Wolverine and this Batman were so cool. I'm going to have to go back and get those. I kind of regret not buying them, to be frank. The next booth had some Ghostbusters things, and they had a bunch of really cool statues and sculptures. They had a Miles Morales bust. They had Boba Fett busts. They had Mandalorian busts. They had Deadpool. They had all kinds of really cool figures. Here's a Luke Skywalker bust. Just a bunch of really cool stuff, and it was all reasonably priced as well. This Bucky O'Hare figure in the box really caught my eye. I was super tempted there. Moving on, they have a Darth Maul resin bust, which was really tempting. The Boba Fett was tempting as well, and again, these prices are super reasonable. I almost thought they were too reasonable. For example, he has a Hulk bust. It's a one-half scale replica. He was only asking $80 for it, but I got on eBay, and apparently that's about what it goes for. I also found some really cool ships. This one is called the Victoria. This is a huge, like 3.5-foot long scale replica ship. Not something I really collect because I don't have the space for it, but it's super neat. They also had a bunch of old James Bond stuff. This is mostly the Sean Connery era of James Bond. So if you grew up in that time frame, this would really appeal to you. This was way before my time. I wasn't born when these came out. But they're neat nonetheless. Again, most of this is Sean Connery. Okay, and then the next booth had like this do-it-yourself Ninja Turtles kit, and then like a Spawn versus Violator toy set. This Deep Space Nine figure was really tempting, but not for $65. And then they had this like modern Deadpool figure. It was kind of cheap. This caught my eye though. I found a box full of Savage Tale comics, and if you don't know Savage Tale, this was early Marvel. Savage Tales is actually the series where the first appearance of Man-Thing occurs, and I was hoping that they had that, but they didn't. So I moved on to Wonder Book and Video, which is again just a few minutes from my new place that I just moved to. My friend told me that these guys sell like vintage video game stuff, so I figured I'd check it out, and it looks like they do, because the first thing I was greeted to was a GameCube system. They were asking $60 for it, which isn't bad, but it came with a third-party controller and not an official Nintendo one. They also had this Wii for around the same price, which again isn't a horrible deal. And then further down, they had some original PlayStation 1 games and some Nintendo 64 games, as well as some 8-bit Nintendo games and some PlayStation 4 stuff. If you walk down the aisle here, they were doing a video game sale. They were doing like buy two, get one free for all the old vintage games. So I definitely took advantage of that, and I picked up a lot of these. This whole shelf is Xbox 360 and Xbox One, and then you can see they've got a ton of Wii games. At the top shelf there, they've got some PlayStation 2 and looks like some PSP stuff, and then more PlayStation 2 stuff. They have original Xbox, they have more PlayStation 1 games. They just had so much here, and I ended up buying a lot of stuff here. The next place I stopped by is my local Cartridges Galore. There's one in Frederick where I used to live, and then there's one here in Hagerstown where I live now. And they had a bunch of old stuff too. They had a bunch of Super Nintendo cartridges, and they were also doing a buy two, get one free. And they had some Atari games, Nintendo 64, Wii, all kinds of stuff. So what did I get? Well, I got a lot of things. I ended up buying a lot of things. Most of the stuff I got was from Wonder Book and Video. I did end up buying something at that first antique shop that I stopped by, and what I bought there was Amazing Spider-Man number 194. This is the first appearance of the Black Cat. I already had this before in much better condition. I ended up selling it and flipping it for some money. So this one's a lower grade copy I just bought for my personal collection. I only paid $80 for it, which is about what it's worth. The last place we stopped by, Cartridges Galore, I ended up buying this Bad Dudes My Arcade mini arcade machine. It retails for like $40 right now. It's on sale for $30 on Amazon, but I only paid $9 for it. Now, I own several of these mini arcade machines. I have a mini collection of these little arcade machines. Whenever I find them, I always pick them up, especially the My Arcade brand, because those are the nicer ones in my opinion. This particular arcade machine, I didn't grow up playing as a kid. All of the other ones that I have in my collection, I played as a kid. This one I wasn't super familiar with. Maybe I played it once or twice in the arcade, but I don't have a ton of nostalgia for it. But for $9, I'm going to pick it up. Any My Arcade machine I find in the wild for that cheap, I'm going to buy it regardless of the game, so let's check it out. Okay, so it looks like this is like a side-scrolling beat-em-up game. This is totally something that I would have been completely into as a kid. growing up. This game just came out a little bit before my time, so I don't recall playing this when I was a little kid, but it's right in line with what I would totally be into as a kid. So this is the rest of what I picked up, mostly video game things. The first game that I picked up is Hunter the Reckoning Wayward for the PlayStation 2. This is a really fun isometric Diablo-style shooter. This one is complete in the box with the game and manual. The next game I picked up was the original Devil May Cry for the PlayStation 2. Now, the box that it came with was in horrible condition, so I ended up making my own box with this custom, beautiful artwork. This is not the original artwork, although the game and the manual inside are the original artwork. I just replaced the exterior artwork. And then I found Gran Turismo 3. This was another game I picked up on the cheap. This is just a classic. It came complete in the box with the game and the instruction manual. The next game I picked up was Sledstorm for the PlayStation 2. I had this on the original PlayStation. I didn't realize they made a sequel for it on PlayStation 2, but it's a great game. This one, unfortunately, was missing the manual, but I do have the game in the original case. Next game I picked up was Final Fantasy Collector's Edition Steelbox. This was a find. It came with the instructions in the original steel case with both discs intact in perfect condition. This game I have not played yet, the specific entry, so I'm excited about that. The next game I picked up was for the original Xbox. It's Blinx, the Time Sweeper. I remember playing this as a kid. This was such a fun game and a classic one. This one is complete in the box as well. The next game I picked up is Deus Ex Invisible War. This is the game that got me obsessed with the Deus Ex franchise, and I've played every entry since this game came out. The next game I picked up was Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. This is probably the best entry in the series in my opinion. Really great game. This introduced some really fun online stuff as well. The next game I picked up was a PlayStation 1 game, NHL 2001. Now, I normally don't pick up a ton of sports games, but hockey is kind of the exception. I love hockey games, so I picked that up because it was like $1.50. The next game I picked up was an 8-bit Nintendo game called Solstice. This is like a fantasy-style RPG. I have never played it before, but it caught my attention, so I picked it up. This one is a classic. We all know Double Dragon. I picked this one up. It's a must-have, in my opinion, for any collection. The next game I picked up is a PSP game. This is actually Twisted Metal for the PSP. Unfortunately, it's just a loose game without the case or the instruction manual. The next game I picked up is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Genesis. This one is original in the box with the instruction manual and the game. This is the not-for-resale version, so this was a pack-in, so whoever bought the Genesis, this game came with it for free. The next game I picked up was Ghost Squad. This is an underrated Sega AM2 on-rail shooter for the Nintendo Wii. I absolutely love this game, and I'm thrilled to have it in the box with the original instruction manual. Next game I picked up is The Last of Us for PlayStation 3. This is an absolute classic. If you're a gamer, you know this game already. I used to have this game. I ended up selling it years ago, but now that I'm rebuilding my vintage gaming collection, it's a must-have. I also picked up Diablo 3, which is also another must-have. This one is complete in the box with the instruction manual. The next two games I picked up were Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3. Again, these are games that I had back in the day, and then I sold them, and now I'm just rebuilding my collection. Now, this next item is by far my favorite thing that I picked up today, and this is the Rick and Morty limited edition vinyl box set. This is absolutely amazing. It's unopened. It was released in 2018. I don't know how many of them that they made. Now, there's a button on the side here that lights up, but it looks like the batteries are dead. This came out in 2018, so that doesn't surprise me. But the front lights up. It does come with several vinyls that are the soundtrack for the Rick and Morty series, as well as some other collectibles. So we're going to do an unboxing here. I'm going to show you how amazing this is and how excited I was when I picked it up. So this is it, and you can just tell the artwork on the front is absolutely incredible. The attention to detail here is amazing, and again, this button would normally light up the front, but the batteries are dead. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, and I'll give you a demonstration of what it looks like lit up later. So if we pop this open, it looks like this. This is the two full-sized vinyls that come in this collection, and this is. This artwork is just so amazing, especially the one on the right. It's just so cool looking and creative. And this is the back artwork. And then if we pull out the sleeve, the first one features Rick in outer space in a green silhouette. And I'll go ahead and take out the record itself is green. It's got like a little hand in the middle there. Okay, and then I'm going to show you the second vinyl that comes in the set. This is the front artwork, and then here's the back artwork. Again, it's just beautiful, weird, trippy. It's just, I love it. If we pull this one out, this one actually features Morty, and if you take out both, they align side by side. One is Rick and one is Morty, and it completes the picture there. And this one is also green. It looks like it's got an eyeball there and like a planet that looks like Saturn on the other side. And then underneath that, we've got a full-size poster. Now, this artwork does not look like it's made by the artist that does the show. I'm not a huge fan of the poster, to be frank, but it came with it for free, so who cares? And then underneath that, we've got some more goodies. We've got a sticker, which is hilarious. It is a sticker of Morty just unconscious and passed out, covered in what appears to be Rick's vomit, which is, again, hilarious. And then we've got like a patch that you can iron on to a piece of clothing or a backpack or something, which is Rick giving the middle finger, as he does. And then we've got like a little certificate here that has a downloadable code for the MP3 version of the soundtrack. And then it also has, it looks like this is number 1265. I don't know, again, I don't know how many they made. And guys, I've already redeemed this, so don't try it. And then underneath all of that, we have another tiny little 7-inch record. And this one is really cool. It's like the sun, and you can flip it on the back, and just his face is absolutely hysterical. But it's made to fit in so that when you pull the record out, it looks like the sun is rising in the background. I just think this whole set is so creative, and the artwork is just absolutely amazing. I'm just so glad that I own this, because it was only released once and there's not going to be a re-release. So once they're sold out, they're gone forever. Now I went ahead and replaced the batteries so that you can see what it looks like when it's lit up. And as you can see, there's like an overlay of a skeleton on top of Rick and Morty here. And then the headlining text at the top is also lit up. It's just so cool looking. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, I recently moved to a new area. It was kind of sudden and unexpected. But as a positive side effect, I do have a lot more space than I did before. So I do plan to do a full-on new nerd room tour. As you can see, I have like a full-on 8-foot pool table in my main game room now, which I did not have the space for before. Again, I'm still, there's boxes everywhere. I'm still in the process of moving. My office is like halfway set up. If we can get the door open. So my main gaming computer and workstation is on the right there. I do have some comic books up. Those are like my favorite ones in my collection that are graded. And I do have some like toys and stuff. I've got the arcade machine set up, and I've got some figures set up and some pop figures as well. Although, again, I'm in the middle of unboxing, so there's still a lot more to set up. I've got my little work from home station here, and I've got some toys set up above that. In fact, I have so many toys that I've purchased recently that I had to go ahead and buy like a full-on rotating retail display rack, which you can see here. I've got just so many toys from the late 80s, early 90s. These are Star Wars. I've got some Star Trek. I've got some X-Men and obviously Marvel stuff. So I'm still building all of this out, but it is very much a work in progress. But I do, again, once everything's actually set up, I do plan to do another nerd room tour to kind of show you guys the new setup. My living room is kind of sparse. I'm kind of leaving it that way on purpose. I don't want to overdo it, although I guess I could put some slabs up on this wall to the right because it's kind of empty. I do have a little display case here on the left where I have some like Ninja Turtles stuff. So there's some figures there and some more mini arcade machines, and then some more Ninja Turtle and Micro Machine toys that are displayed here. And then in my bedroom, I do have a bunch of slabs up on the wall there, although I just have so many more that I don't know what to do with. I have like a closet full of slabs, and I don't know where to put them yet. But then I have this little gaming corner as well. This is where I have all my retro systems set up on this tiny little CRT. But again, I plan to do a proper nerd room tour once I'm set up in the new spot. As always, thanks for watching. Again, I'm giving away the free slab in the game. All you have to do is like the video and then leave a comment, and I will pick one at random if we can hit about 500 views on this video. And then if you watch my last video, you'll see that I'll do a follow-up where I use an app and I spin the wheel at random and it picks one, and I'll let you know. You'll just need to send me your shipping address. But again, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great night.